Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to AppCode. In the last episode of the Firebase Twitter Android authentication tutorial, we did the authentication, and in this one, I'm going to continue the authorization part, right? So I'm back in the Android application, and I have added two buttons. One for sign in with Twitter as driver, and other one is sign in with Twitter as user, right? So assume this is a taxi application where our user can use it as a driver, and other time it can be used as a user, right? So I have added two buttons for the driver and for the user, so we can do the role based authentication in the authorization actually in the backend, right? So let's wire these guys, right? So I have added these strings, necessary things, right? So let's go to the main activity and change the things accordingly, right? So here I have this button sign in driver and button sign in user, right? Let's fire these guys up. So we have earlier button sign in, now we have button sign in driver, right? And other one is button sign in user, right? Okay, now we have two on click listeners on the place, right? So let's change this one to driver and this one to user, right? So we need to pass variable saying this is driver, this is not a driver, right? So we need to basically add a variable called is driver to the sign in with Twitter function, right? Let's pass that guy into the sign in with Twitter in the function in the view model. Okay guys, for the moment I'm going to store this one in this driver variable. Okay, let's do like this, right? I'm going to pass this is driver flag once I got the success result to the backend, right? In the backend I'm going to mark this user as a driver or as a user, right? So basically we need an endpoint to that, right? So basically let's have go to this app code service. Okay, let's create the method create user one, and we need to pass the authorization header. There's another way we can pass this one by using interceptor in the OKTTP client level. I'll show you that one in later video. So for the moment I am going to use this one, right? So next thing we need to use something called at body annotation to pass a body to the post request, right? Because this will be a post to the user endpoint, right? So we need to have a user with user, right? So let's create a class user, right? So I'm going to model, and so let's have a data class user. It will hold the ID, which is a string, and you need to have val. Okay, so we can use this user here. For the message, let's use the same one for the reply, right? For the response. Okay, so in the sign in view model, now we can call that create user once we got the auth response, right? This one. So I'm going to write a method called fun create user, and I need to get the application of apt code and get the API and then call the create user. So we need to pass bearer token here. We need to place the ID token here, right? So for the user, we need to create a new user with the user ID and is driver flag, right? So this should be run in the IO scheduler, right? So if you don't remember, in the first video, I have shown you how to in the second video actually I have shown you how to use the IO scheduler, right? So next we can subscribe, right? So but we need to have ID token to pass with this one, right? So we can actually extract this piece of code we wrote earlier and make it to a method, helper method, right? So let's write a method to get ID token, right? And we need a user, right? So user will be Firebase user, right? And we need to call a callback, right? It will take a string and return a unit, right? So I'm going to delete this one, basically this part, right? And call the callback with the token, right? So I need to verify that token is not null, right? So let's have a okay, so otherwise I think I can pass null here, and right, so we can handle the error scenarios as well by using this method. Okay, so now I'm going to replace that get token method here. Basically we need to call this one when get id token get called, right? So this one will be the token. Okay, now we can move this lambda out of the method body, right? So this like this. Okay, let's format this one, and we need to check token is not null, right? Otherwise else need to hello response. Okay, not hello response actually. Okay, so this is not tweet message actually. Backend. Okay, this one is Firebase, and this one is again Firebase, right? Right. Okay, so this is the method. Now we have get id token, we can use that one, right? So let's call that. I'm copying that one, and we need to get right. Okay, now we can call the get id token. We pass this user, and for the token we can get the token here, right? And pass the token here. For the UID we can use user.uid, right, and we can move this out of the parentheses. Okay, so now once we got the success listener, we can move this one to the success scenario, right? So after the creating user in the backend, right? Okay guys, we need to change this result to something else. Let's check how we have used that one here. Okay, so let's pass a string there, right? So they can show that one easily, right? Okay, so let's copy that message and keep it here. Okay, so we can pass that one, right? Okay, now we cannot actually call this one. Instead of, we need to call the create user with this driver parameter, right? So we can actually remove this one, and here we also have to call the create user is driver boolean false and remove this one, right? So now basically I'll rework what we have done, right? So in the app code service we have added this method to create a user. In the sign in, we in the main activity we just passed the driver true and driver false. In the sign in model, what I have done is we get the auth result in the pending one or the in the start activity for sign in with provider, right? So inside that one, in the success listener, I'm calling create user, right? Create user method, it calls the get token, the get id token immediately and create the user based on that id token, right? Okay, so here we need to log the error, right? Right, and this is id token method, get id token method, which I extracted from the tutorial number 2, and it just called back it, you need to call it with null, otherwise it get stuck, right? No response thing scenario, so we need to handle that one here. Okay, token right, else right. Okay, so in the main activity we can use the text here, okay? So actually here we should pass null. Okay, now the client side is almost completed, right? So now what we have to do is we have to create the backend, right? So let's go to backend and add a new controller for the user. Okay, and we need to annotate it with at rest controller, and let's have a method. and we need to have post mapping for the user endpoint, right? That's the one we called in the retrofit, right? So we need to have request body and user. Okay. Now I'm going to have a static map of users to keep the user in memory. In real scenario, that would be a database, right? Right, so this the user map. Now we need to have the user ID and this driver flag in the user class, right? Right, this is for the request body, right? So now we need to have the getters and setters. Okay, so in here I'm going to get user ID and get the user dot is driver flag, right? And return message right. Okay, now in the security configuration I'm going to change this a bit, right? Because we are using post, we need to disable the CSRF, and we need to authenticate any request, right? And authenticate it, right? Okay, so we have the endpoint and we have the security configuration in place and we have the user map. What it does is when it hits this one, it just put the user ID and the claim. Basically user driver is a driver or a user, right? So another thing we need to do is we need to make a claim, right? That one updates the Firebase user, so next time we can grab the user and get the claim that's set in the backend and act upon the claims, right? So I'm going to get the Firebase auth, right, and get the user and set custom claims, right? Okay, so we need to pass user ID here, right? So let's take that one and make sure that we pass that one in the this the user ID, and the create user method we should pass that user ID. Okay, so we are passing that one. In the backend we can get that user ID, and for the map I'm going to we need to pass a object map, string object map. So let's have string object map, right? I need to put role is driver flag to user.get is driver, right? and set these claims. Okay, so we need to handle an auth exception, and we need to throw, there's a new exception class we can use, response status exception. We can pass the response status and the exception message, right? So that would be HTTP status, I guess, status dot bad request, right? So failed to create user, right? Okay, so I think backend is also done. Now let's run the application. And for the Android, I have used this new Genie Mobile SCRCPY thing, and I think it's very easy than the first one I used in the second video, right? So you can download the Windows and Mac OS thing and just double click the no console thing, and you get the access to the mirror, right? Mirror of your phone. Okay, so I'm gonna run this again, run the application in the debug mode, right? Okay guys, now application is running and backend is also running, right? So let's try the sign in with creat as a driver. And let's sign in. Okay, we got the hit, right? Now user is a driver false, and okay, get user ID. Yeah, we got the ID, but user is driver false. I'll check that one, right? Okay, so user is created. Now we have that one, right? So let's go to the application. Why we got user is false. Okay guys, that is because we got false in the user class. I have is set driver, right? So but in the Kotlin I am using user class with is driver, so the getter would be get is driver, right? So the corresponding setter should be set is driver. That is a bit weird. You'll get to know that one when Java and Kotlin interoperability and stuff, right? So for the moment, let's consider it as set is driver. So once set that one, I'll get the correct is driver flag, right? So now I have set the claim. Now in the hello controller, we can greet him by getting the control, getting the getting the appropriate role. Okay, so I'm going to because in the provider I have added this Firebase user record into the user, right? So I can get the claims by user. So let's let's return the Firebase claims. Right, so now we have this get claims, right? Null pointer, possible null pointer, right? But in the authenticated state, we are sure that it should contain the user record. So let's get the security context holder and get authentication, right? So this one will be as user, because in the authentication provider we return it as a user, right? So in the hello controller we can actually have the user like this, right? So hello, let's have the greeting based on the user, right? We need to cast it to a boolean, right? So is driver, so is driver, then driver, otherwise it's a user, right? Okay, so now we need to restart the application, but then again we need to sign in, right? Don't. Okay, so let's run it again. From the application side, I think we don't have to. Yeah, we need to, because the static map, right? Static user map. Okay, now application is running and the backend is also running. So let's sign in to it as a driver. Okay, I think we didn't get the hit. Okay, let's have a debug point here and let's try it again. Okay, we got the hit. Let's find. Now we got the successfully authenticated one, right? So let's have a debug point in the hello controller, right? Because in the user controller we have set the custom claims. In the hello controller we should get the claims from the this one, right? So say hello. Okay, yeah, this driver is true. Now message should be like hello driver, right? So let's delete the user and sign it, rerun the application and set the user as the user and let's see the response, right? Okay, now user is created in the driver is false, right? And we got the message. Okay, let's say hello. Okay, hello users. I think you got the idea. So we can set the custom claims in the backend. So basically this would like some admin portal where you use admin user can create users and set claims on the different ones. So there can be different roles which all handled by the admin SDK of the Firebase in the backend, right? So I have shown you how to do that one in the Android application scenario. So this is an start point. You can do this kind of inventing new stuff and new approaches to do the role, but the basic idea and how to do it in the Firebase and Spring Boot, I have shown you. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you like the video and press like. Thanks. Happy coding.